Fellow loved ones, welcome back to another episode of the Psychic Abilities series. If you have not yet checked out the video where I shared 13 psychic abilities, go ahead and click the link here in the cards now. Check that out first, and then come back here and let me know if this resonates with you. Today we are discussing transition guide or transitional guide. If you are gifted as a transitional guide, you are a channel for change. You can help yourself and others move through change easily, okay? Specifically, major life changes. You are gifted also in sensing when a sense of perspective is needed, a switch, a shift, a change in perspective is needed, and how to make it happen. So what I mean by that is you know that there's more than one way to do something. And every so often we can get stuck in a box and we're not moving past or through a thing. You know when, okay, it is time to switch your perspective, your school of thought on the thing, get to a resolve, elevate, and so forth. So you have that gift. And also as a transition guide, you know what needs to change, how it needs to change, when it needs to change, and also how to support people through the change. I give you an example, the lockdown. There were so many people who could sense a change was coming, and they had a feeling it was going to be global. The way it shows up in my life is I can sense that a change is coming, and I'm looking around like, what's going on? Like there's, I can't, I cannot hear my guides. Maybe if I stopped for a minute and just, looked around me, I'd be able to get the message. But a lot of times I'm like, a change is coming. What's that? Like I just have this feeling. I don't necessarily know that it's going to be global. Although there are some prompts that I may hear in like a headline or something. If I hear that, I'm like, oh, okay, something is about to happen, and now we need to go ahead and buckle up and level up. How are we going to do that? How are we going to navigate through this? Okay, so that's how it can show up in some people's lives, and that's how it shows up for me. And I've always had this also where I can sense there's a need for a change in my environment, a change in how I do things, a change in, so for example, a shift in business. So if you're in business, you know that, okay, it's time for me to pivot. Am I going to pivot in the market that I am reaching out to, or am I going to change everything altogether? You can sense when it's time to do that. And another example of a transition guide or transitional guide is a doula. When I first heard of a doula many, many years ago, I was like, what is that? Is that the same as a midwife? And I'm not an expert on doula-isms, midwife-isms, to know whether or not they are exactly the same, but it sounds very similar. So you're doing something very beautiful, helping someone with childbirth, okay? That's how I first heard about a doula, or what I thought a doula was. But as it turns out, years later, I found out a doula is someone who supports people not only through childbirth, but also if there's like, a loss of a baby, like a miscarriage or stillbirth, and even through the end of life, through death. There's a such thing as a death doula. And that really blew my mind. But at the same time, it's so very beautiful because as a human, some of us are afraid to transition. But what if someone is there to help you through it so that you can transition smoothly? Because our souls never die. But as humans, not everyone understands that. And just to be there to help a soul cross over. There are so many people that I know who do this. They do this work, and it's just really beautiful. And some of them can actually go and see them to a certain point. It's like seeing someone, to the door, or, watching them, drive down the street and waving goodbye, or see you later type of thing. Very, very beautiful. So if any of this resonates with you in any small way, let us know. I am really curious to know. And I have to say this, a lot of times we have no idea how often we are using our spiritual gifts. We think it's nothing. We're just living our lives. We have no idea how impactful these things that we consider just, we have no idea how impactful they are to humanity. So I just want to remind you of that, to just trust yourself. Trust yourself and let your light shine. Until the next video, live simply and be kind.